See you all. I want to welcome everyone to the Police Oversight Panel meeting. Today is March 10th, 2025. Welcome the members of the public that might join us online. And we're going to start by reading our land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge the Arapaho, Ute, and Chilean tribes, the traditional custodians of the land on which the Police Oversight Panel and Boulder Police Department operates, and pay our respects to their elders, past and present. I want to remind the panel of our agreements. I know we have new panel members, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But the panel came up in one of our work meetings last year with a set of agreements in that basically guide the way that we communicate and the way that we are respectful to each other and how we will talk in the meeting. So with that, we can do a roll call, and Sherry, you're the official roll caller today. So if we want to do that, and then we're gonna introduce our new panel members. But before we do that, I want to welcome Nuria, our city manager, to this meeting. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so let's do roll call and let's move on with the agenda.
Soledad.
Here.
Milan. Here. Lizzie. Here. Kristen. Here. Jason.
Here.
Donnie. Here. Chris.
Here.
Chico.
Yes.
Bill De La Cruz is absent and he notified us in advance. Alan.
Here.
And AB.
Here.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so a few reminders. So we have the Q&A option during the meeting, so members of the public can use that, and Selena will be monitoring Q&A. We're gonna also remind the public that our website address is boulder.colorado.services-police-oversight. And our email, policeoversightpanel@bouldercolorado.gov. All these meetings are posted on our website, and we're now ready to hear the agenda. So why don't we start with a quick round of introductions? And yeah, let's do that. Perfect. So I think so. My name is Soledad Diaz, current co-chair of the panel, and my pronouns are she.
My name is Curtis Rogers. I am the student member of the panel. Pronouns he, him.
My name is Donnie Austin. I am also a student member of the panel. My pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Do you want to go?
Or sure. Hi everyone, my name is Selena, and I use she, her, ella pronouns.
Lizzie Friend, she, her, second year on the panel.
I'm Christian Drybread. I'm a new panel member and I'll accept all pronouns.
Sherry Down, independent police monitor, she, her.
Milan, I'm entering my third year on the panel. I use she, her pronouns.
Alan Mahashi, I'm not even on a year. I'm as new as these folks. And you can go and refer to me however you want.
I am Nuria Rivera Vandermeid. I will be city manager for 4 years in May, actually. And I use she, ella.
Jason?
My name is Jason Savala, he, him. I think I'm starting my third year.
Chico?
Well, Chico, you may call me Chico. I've been on the panel since October 2022.
AB?
Hi, my name is AB, and I think this is my second year. I think. I'd have to check.
Okay, and we have Roberto Ramirez on the screen. Hey.
Hi, everyone. Roberto Ramirez from the City Attorney's Office. I'm the Deputy City Attorney and here to assist in any way that I can. Good to meet y'all.
Do you wanna?
Sure. Well, thanks for inviting me, and I'm here really to welcome our newest members. Super excited to have you here. It's always kind of exciting to have new folks joining the panel. I think I was telling Curtis earlier, I think this panel is such an important, critical part of what we do in the city. I believe we've got a great police force, and I believe in the power of oversight. I say this to police all the time. I believe in good policing, and I say that all the time, and I put an emphasis on good policing. I think it's really important to have accountability. I believe this is an important tool, and what you do is critical to the work that we're doing for community. I have served other communities where the kind of policing that we have here is not present, and we can always improve. And I think that what you do and push us to do better is really critical. And so I just really appreciate the time and effort that you put in, and it's hard work, right? What you see and what you need to do and see in body cam is delicate, it's sensitive, it is taxing. And so I just appreciate in advance the work that you put into this, because I know that it is hard. I have to watch body cams every once in a while, and it is taxing. And so I know that you do it on a mostly volunteer basis, because the stipends you get don't pay emotionally for what you do. And so just thank you in advance for what you're about to put in. And I also think that as you do it, you're a city kind of representative, and you're subject to like quora requirements and open meeting laws. And when I send you emails, you'll note that I usually send it to the co-chair, and then I blind copy you because you all of a sudden you're city representatives in ways that you didn't even know, right? And you'll get that in your training. And so when you say yes to this, you say yes to a whole bunch of things to become a city person that you didn't even know that you were going to get. So I just thank you in advance for that commitment. So just it is not for the faint of heart, and it is dedication that brings you here. I believe in public service. I believe in the power of government to do really good things, and that is part of what you do as well when you serve.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I will say too that we're just kicking off budget. It feels like we are. Last time I think I talked to you, we were talking about budget, and we are about to kick that off again. It feels like I do budget year round. And so we're going to be kicking off that budget, and it's an interesting year to do budget because if you're watching the national news, we're in a weird place. We are in a place of a federal freeze. We are in a place where every word that we do for grants now is being scrutinized. Every time we're looking at our grant proposals and seeing what words we're putting out there, because it can be flagged for a variety of things. We have a commitment to continue to live into our values, and we will not shy away from that. We will continue to do equity work. We will continue to represent our community. We will continue to do climate work. We will not shy away from that. So that is what we live into, and there will be repercussions from that in terms of federal funding. And so we were waiting to see what that looks like. But we have, I will tell you, millions of dollars up there that we don't know if we will get or not. And so we're waiting to see what that budget impact will be for our community and for our city. So we will see what that looks like in this budget year. And as we develop the budget, we will know more. So it'll be an interesting budget year as we go forward. I'll say too that we are continuing to lean in, and I think you may have spoken to the chief about our work with our immigrant community. our LGBTQ community that are facing a lot of uncertainty. And we again remain committed to serving everyone in our community that is feeling vulnerable. And before Roberto visually kicks me under the table, I will say that we remain committed to serving everyone who is in need as much as we can, without saying more. That is our value. We will continue to do that in the city. And I know that our police department believes the same. So that is where we're spending a lot of effort and a lot of time this year. So that's a lot of what we've been doing in the city so far. We are continuing to do our climate work. I know that's been a lot of conversation lately. So anyway, the business of the city continues despite what else is going around nationally. There's a lot of craziness out there, but we continue. On the PD front, PD is actually being accredited, and I don't know how much the chief has spoken to you about it, but I think that's a really good thing. We hear in April, but I hear good things. And one of the reasons I love accreditation actually just came from a meeting because Parks is getting accredited and Fire's getting accredited. And the reason I love accreditation is it forces you to do the discipline of getting policies and procedures in place, right? And I think that for some departments, that's a really good thing. And so I think that's a terrific endeavor to do, and police is in that area. And the other thing I'll say is, as we continue to do dashboarding and data, I think you got my note a week or two ago. Thank you for doing that. I think PD will continue to come to you when they're doing new dashboards. I encourage you to continue to give them feedback before they make those public. Because I think it's really important to hear from you as you're doing that before they go online. They need your eyes as they're doing that, but I'm really excited to hear what they're doing to get your continued input on not just what they're about to do, but perhaps what are the other dashboards that could exist in community. So continue to push and to talk to PD about the kinds of data that could be put out there, because that's another lens in which you can continue to help and push our department to explore and to put more data out. If they're interested in it, they are, they're like every department, they're a little in the weeds and rushed for time and want to do more. But the more you help prioritize what gets out there, the better they can be for that. So just appreciate your efforts in that regard. Open to, if anybody's curious, I'm always an open book if you got questions. If I can't say it, I always say, I can't say it. I'm pretty open about that, but happy to tell you what else is going on in the city.
City remain a sanctuary.
City by ordinance in 2017 declared being a sanctuary city. I will say that we are trying hard not to shout it from the rooftops, not because we're not, but we're trying to protect our community. We've spoken to a lot of organizations that say, please don't do things that brings federal agencies here. And so it's not that we're shying away from it. It's that we're not trying to shine a light here, but it is an ordinance. We remain that way. But we are trying hard not to, to put that spotlight here.
Thank you.
This program receive any federal grant funding?
It does not. They're all good. All
What about
good.
BPD?
PD does few, it applies for grants every once in a while. And in fact, it's one of the areas that I'm less concerned about, to be honest. Other than the fact that Boulder may be seen as more liberal as a potential sanctuary city, although most of the attention has been on Denver, which is not a bad thing for us. We have not appeared on the list yet. Boulder County has, and in part, I think it's because they've got the jail. But law enforcement in general is not one that I don't think that will likely not receive federal funding in the future, but we'll see. Infrastructure is one that I don't think should not receive federal funding, and yet that is one of the ones that we're struggling with and worried about because we had a $23 million Safer Street grant, but it was for bike lanes, and that may be something that we may not get because it may be seen as too liberal. So we'll see what that looks like. But, so we'll see on PD, but no personnel is impacted by grant funding, and if anything, it is smaller, maybe programmatic funding, but I'm not too concerned about PD.
I'm so happy to hear that. Because, you know, everywhere you talk about funding, it's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just glad to hear that we're in a better place than many others that are really struggling, so.
Yeah.
Smart city management.
Well,
Yeah.
we're trying, we're
Yeah,
trying.
yeah.
We're okay, we're okay.
Good as well.
Yeah, and we've got, you know, like every city, right? We've got some emergency reserves. We're being thoughtful about it. It may mean that we don't do a lot of extra funding and we don't have the ability to do a lot of new FTEs. And so we've warned departments that their asks are going to be scrutinized a lot. BPD is fully funded, and so in their reimagining plan, they will be asking me this year for more funding, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do. And other departments, right, will be doing that, so we'll be thoughtful about it. But thankfully, we're not in a deficit, and so yeah, we'll continue to see how that looks like. But yeah, we're fortunate in that sense. I'm hoping that we'll be thinking about social services more because the county is not in such a great place. And where the county is perhaps in a deficit, they look to the city to pick some of that up. And so we have asked our Housing and Human Services to be thinking about what their ask will be because we may have to supplement. So anyway, we'll see what the budget looks like as we kick it off. So, yeah. All roads lead to budget.
Great.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being able to come
Yeah.
and welcome our new panel members
Yeah.
and apparently, share thanks for some of our panel members who are embarking on their third year.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
Well, I'll leave you to the work.
thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Good to see y'all.
But don't forget your cook.
My mute.
So let's get to our agenda. So our first item will be, everyone's leaving. Will be the approval of the agenda. So I will entertain a motion to approve our agenda for today, please.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Milan. We need a second.
Seconded.
Oh, Litzy and Chico, so we have to. Should we see Joe?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Approval of the agenda?
The agenda.
So everyone say aye. Anyone against or abstaining?
Aye.
Oh, good, okay. You're not. Nice, okay. Need this. Okay, our second item will be approval of the minutes of last month meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Milan. Second, DC, thank you. So should we do a vote, show of hands, please, or ayes? So,
I think new members vote or not for that.
so I'm abstaining, so that one.
Kristen did the training last year, so she is a full voting member. Our two student members need to
But she
do.
was absent for the last meeting. Could she still?
Oh, you're right,
So-
you're right,
Yeah.
so she should abstain. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So new members, no.
So we're abstaining.
Great.
Cool. So voting for approval of last month meeting, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Chico. Jason? Yes, AB?
And there, I think she was in that last one.
Okay.
At the end.
Okay, so I will. Okay. Oh,
Quorum is 5 today, by the way.
and are we in
Yeah,
five?
just
Yes,
five
yeah.
of us.
Yeah. So then our next item in the agenda, community outreach and engagement. Bill is not here, but I don't know who.
I can speak to some of it.
Okay,
Um,
thank you, Mela.
so I know Bill has been in touch with. Anyway, I've. Yes, has he been able, I saw something where he was in touch with someone, but anyway, Bill has been talking to a lot of different people to do more community outreach, and I secured the Trident for April 22nd at 6 or 6:30 for a community engagement and information. So we'll have a table there. And the Trident is such a good place because people come and go and they'll be able to see us and talk to us, and the might be able to reach out to the population we'll see normally at our meetings. So I'm excited about that. And we'll keep looking for other venues and other things to do.
Do you need any volunteers? Are you
Yeah,
okay?
we'll need volunteers. We can all be there. We can have 2 of us there. And as long as we have a minimum of 2 or 3 people, I think that would be good. But if we can have, as many members and make it a party, that's great too.
So are you gonna be sending your Bill, an email to ask for volunteers? Are you
Yeah,
asking-
I think what's next is we're gonna do a flyer for it and hopefully ask everyone to help distribute it so people can come and see us if they want to. And then I would assume Bill will send an email inviting us. But we just confirmed it like days ago.
And I sent everyone a save the date, so it's on all of your calendars. Yeah.
Next on the agenda, independent police monitor report.
The March 25th or March 2025 monitor report. In the month of February, the panel created, or the panel completed 1 case review. There are 0 case reviews that we're waiting to hear from BPD on, and there are 8 case reviews that the panel will take on. 1 which is scheduled and 2 we're trying to schedule right now. Beginning the cases that were completed by BPD in the month of February. SM 2024-004. This was the December 17th, 2023 fatal officer-involved shooting. In that instance, officers responded to a call of a woman with a gun. The officers attempted less than lethal response multiple times. Officers 1 and 2 eventually deployed firearms at the woman, which caused her death. A community member alleged that officers shot her in the back, which was not consistent with the autopsy report of front to back half bullet trajectories. Officer 1 and 2 were each given a Rule 6 allegation, use of force, deployed lethal force at a woman while she fled and or was shot in her back. The panel recommended that this allegation be unfounded, and the department agreed. The panel also made specific recommendations that the department continue training and encouragement of the goal everyone gets home safely, including officers, community members, and suspects as a foundational tenet of public safety, and that they emphasize, reinforce, and prioritize ICAT and de-escalation expectations beyond training by including these metrics in BPD performance evaluations. Take opportunities to recognize, celebrate, and reward officers for exceptional de-escalation. BPD Chief Redfern responded. The panel recommended ongoing training, encouraging a goal that everyone goes home safe, including suspects. I agree with this goal, and this is an internal message that we have been stressing to our officers. In this case, I do believe that the officers took multiple steps to resolve this incident without lethal force, aligned with this goal. The agency will continue to prioritize ICAT as recommended by the panel and stress de-escalation as a priority when appropriate and feasible. I also concur with the panel that when officers use exceptional de-escalation, that they are recognized. In our awards ceremony in March, we are recognizing at least one incident where officers used de-escalation as part of tactics to resolve an incident where a woman was armed and suicidal. We will continue to recognize such work. Event 764. This was when officers responded to a call that a dog was attacking a man. Officer 1 responded and encountered a large dog biting a man who was covered in blood and displayed deep lacerations on his arms. Bystanders were yelling to shoot the dog. The dog began pursuing Officer 1, who deployed his taser at the dog with no effect. The dog jumped at Officer 1, who discharged his firearm multiple times at the dog, and the dog fell to the ground. Officers 1 and 2 attended to the man and each applied a tourniquet to one of his arms. The dog stood and began approaching again, and Officer 1 fired another shot, which caused the dog to fall again. Animal control officers then euthanized the dog. The investigation revealed that the dog belonged to the man, and the man and his family members expressed appreciation for the actions of Officer 1. The monitor responded on scene. After subsequent review of the incident, she determined that Officer 1's firearm discharge complied with BPD policy. Therefore, it was not a misconduct investigation, but I'm still reporting it to the public. Officers responded to a wellness check. MI 2024-052. Officers responded to a wellness check requested by the mother of young children when they were at the father's home. Officers 1 and 2 responded, interviewed all parties, and determined that there was no evidence of harm to the children. The resolution that evening was for the children to stay with mother. The officers facilitated the transfer of children from father to mother. The next day, Officer 1 conducted follow-up with mother. During their telephone call, mother alleged that during a previous wellness response to father's home, Officers 2 and 3 made comments to the children that the officers would rather be catching robbers. Mother then complained about Officers 1 conduct towards mother and her children. Officer 1 received an allegation of Rule 4, respect for others, yelled and or berated and or treated mother like a criminal and or was unprofessional while speaking to her children. The monitor's recommendations were that this be unfounded, and the department agreed. Officer 2, Rule 1, customer service value, stated to children who were the subject of a wellness check that they would rather be catching robbers. Officer 2's allegation, the monitor recommended be unfounded, and the department agreed. And Officer 3 had the same allegation with the same unfounded recommendations. The monitor additionally recommended that a premise note be added through BPD dispatch so that officers or supervisors who may respond in the future are informed of the history between the parents. And the monitor recommended that BPD extend the default body-worn camera retention period in response to child abuse or neglect and domestic violence incidents. Given the likelihood of ongoing or escalating nature of these types of incidents, retaining body-worn camera for longer periods of time can assist BPD detectives and the district attorney to better assess credibility and patterns of conduct. Chief Redfern responded, I concur that a premise note would be beneficial, assuming that we can verify that the involved parties still live at the location. As for the extended retention for body-worn camera, this is something that the professional standards unit should discuss with the IT and the district attorney's office to ensure that we are aligned with how long these types of body-worn cameras should be retained. MI 2024-059, Officer 1 responded to a call that a man was harassing and following a family at a park. While speaking with the man, Officer 1 instructed the man not to return to the park. The man walked towards the park, and Officer 1 appeared to lightly push the man's shoulder. The man stepped backwards and then stumbled to sit on the ground. The man complained about the physical contact and that the Officer 1 did not take appropriate steps to investigate his child abuse allegation against the parents. Allegations for Officer 1 was Rule 1, use of force, pushed the man and or did not practice de-escalation. The panel recommended that this allegation be exonerated, and the department agreed. And another Rule 1, General Order 209, child abuse and child sexual abuse response, failed to take appropriate actions when notified of allegations of child abuse. Panel recommended that this allegation be unfounded, and the department determined that it was an exonerated finding. The panel additionally recommended they shared the possibility that additional de-escalation options were available to Officer 1. They noted that officers' initial contact and approach with members of the community, especially agitated individuals, can greatly influence the demeanor and cooperation of community members. Officers always maintain the option to escalate depending on how an incident progresses. Absent the situation involving safety concerns, officers should be encouraged to present a respectful and collaborative greeting. Chief Redfern responded, "Every situation is fluid and each officer handles situations differently, but I do not believe the officer failed to de-escalate in this situation. In hindsight, there may always be options we see from a seat that is not in the middle of a situation. And I concur that there are usually multiple options available to our officers, but based upon how this situation was handled, I am comfortable with the officer's actions." MI 2024-067. Officers broadcast the sighting of a stolen black 2016 Ford F-150 pickup truck with Texas license plate. Officer 1 conducted a high-risk traffic stop, which involved holding the driver at gunpoint on a 2022 black Dodge pickup truck with a wholly different Texas license plate. Approximately 1 minute after the traffic stop initiated, additional officers on scene realized that it was the wrong truck and holstered their firearms. Officer 1 apologized to the driver and offered the chance for a supervisor to speak to the driver. The driver declined. Officer 1 asked for the driver's license and called into dispatch for a search of the driver's name. The total interaction lasted just over 5 minutes. After the stop, Officer 1 told another officer, "I was like, Texas plate. I did not even look at the plate. I feel horrible." Upon review of this incident, BPD leadership initiated this. Officer 1 had a Rule 1 allegation that he did not comply with BPD procedures for conducting a high-risk traffic stop. The panel recommended a sustained 5-year reprimand with training, and the department sustained the allegation with a 1-year reprimand. Officer 1 also had a Rule 5 allegation, conducted a high-risk traffic stop. The panel recommended, again, sustained 1-year reprimand with training, and the department sustained the allegation with an overall 1-year reprimand. There was a Rule 6 allegation, use of force, pointed a firearm at the suspect vehicle and or driver. Panel sustained with a 5-year reprimand with training recommendation, and the department determined that the allegation was sustained with an overall 1-year reprimand. And the final allegation was a Rule 5, extended the detention of the driver after reasonable suspicion had dissipated. Panel recommended that the allegation be sustained with a 1-year reprimand with training, and the department determination was sustained in an overall 1-year reprimand. The panel also made several recommendations. They felt constrained by the BPD discipline matrix and the concept of progressive discipline. If not bound by these constraints, one reviewing panel member would have recommended discipline between a 30-day suspension and termination. In addition to their written reprimand and training recommendations, the panel members would appreciate the opportunity to speak directly with not only Officer 1, but all of the on-scene officers to better understand their thought processes during the incident and to impress upon them the severity of the situation that stemmed from officer errors. There are significant lessons to be learned by all involved officers. Additionally, the panel recommends that this incident be incorporated into BPD high-risk traffic stop training as an example of what not to do. The panel requests also to be included in this training so that they can add their perspective using the lens of the victim's experience. Furthermore, the panel requests to be informed about all BPD trainings and invited to attend, along with the provision for panel members to afterward ask questions and provide their feedback about the training to BPD. Chief Redfern's response. Boulder Municipal Ordinance 8609 outlines the duties and responsibilities of the panel, and nowhere in the ordinance does it allow for panel members to interview officers accused of misconduct. This is the role of the Independent Police Monitor and the Professional Standards Unit. I, as the Chief of Police, do not have the authority to interview officers regarding alleged misconduct. If there was a change in the ordinance or practice where panel members at least one of whom in this case recommended firing the officer, were allowed to interview employees, it would likely have a chilling effect and a direct impact on morale and retention, especially when Boulder is the only agency in the region with an oversight panel and a police monitor. I fully acknowledge the historical harm that policing has inflicted on communities of color. But in reviewing this case, I'm only able to make decisions based on the available information, and there's nothing in this case file to indicate that the driver felt victimized by the officer's actions. This incident has already been debriefed by those involved with command. The errors here have also been addressed in the high-risk stop training that has been conducted for all commissioned officers and the training team, has reviewed this and is ensuring that the lessons learned here are reiterated in future trainings. Any request to attend a particular BPD training should be directed at the independent police monitor. We welcome the panel's input on training. MI 2024-071. A community member complained that after a CU football game ended, BPD officers blocked pedestrians from crossing a street. Quote, these officers were abusive, aggressive, and disrespectful to the peaceful spectators leaving the game. I personally witnessed one officer confront and verbally abuse a physically disabled person who dared to question why he was being blocked from crossing there. The community member was not able to provide additional descriptors of the officers. Multiple officers, including officers from other agencies, were assigned to this location. The allegation against an unknown officer was Rule 1, respect value, treated pedestrians aggressively while directing traffic for a CU football game. The panel recommended that the unknown officer's allegation be unfounded, and the department agreed. The panel made additional recommendations that BPD remind its members that BPD values, rules, and general orders apply while working secondary employment, especially since they are representing BPD by wearing BPD uniforms. Panel members also questioned whether BPD or CUPD can educate the public that not all officers working CU events are BPD officers. Panel members also stressed that while developing traffic flow plans, including for CU and other special events, that BPD take into account community members with disabilities. Chief Redfern's response, this would be the responsibility of CUPD as they are the responsible entity for all activity related to games, including public messaging. BPD assists CUPD, but this point is well taken and is something that can be brought up in meetings as we prepare for football season in 2025. I will ensure that this conversation is had with our traffic section for BPD events. This won't include football games as those plans are developed and implemented by CUPD. However, our staff working this event should be cognizant of these issues and do everything they can to make accommodations. MI 2024-073, Officer 1 contacted the complainant who was charging their Tesla in the Chautauqua parking lot when the park was closed. There was another Tesla parked in the lot, but it appeared to be unoccupied. Officer 1 woke the complainant, explained that they were trespassing, and requested complainant's ID. While a name verification was processing, Officer 1 inquired whether a complainant had a vehicle charger at their home. Officer 1 gave complainant a warning. The contact lasted less than 4 minutes. The allegation against Officer 1, Rule 1, unbiased policing, profiled and discriminated against complainant based on gender expression and class. The monitor recommended that this allegation be unfounded and the department agreed. MI 2024-077, complainant alleged that Officer 1 did not conduct a sufficient investigation into a theft where complainant was the victim who lost his wallet. The body-worn camera captured Officer 1 responding to a convenience store where the complainant's lost or stolen credit card was declined when another man tried to use it. Officer 1 spoke with the complainant and the clerk of the convenience store and obtained surveillance footage of the man who attempted to use complainant's credit card. Officer 1 attached this surveillance footage to the file and updated the theft incident report. Complainant did not respond to attempts to contact him to learn details about the alleged insufficient investigation. The allegation against Officer 1 was Rule 1, customer service value, failed to conduct a sufficient investigation. I recommended that this allegation be administratively closed in accordance with General Order 120-13F, and the department agreed. MI 2024-085, complainant alleged that when she was arrested, BPD officers left her dog in the care of a man she did not know without her authority. Officers 1 and 2 responded to Central Park because of a call of a loose dog, which they learned belonged to complainant. The officers helped complainant recover her dog. Upon obtaining complainant's name, officers informed her that she had an arrest warrant from Denver and that they would need to arrest her. Complainant arranged to leave her dog with a witness. Officers repeatedly expressed concern for the well-being of her dog and offered to take the dog to the Humane Society while she was in custody. Complainant declined the suggestion and insisted that witness take her dog. Given that complainant did not identify a specific officer and that the body-worn camera refuted her allegation, the monitor declined to guess which responding officer she complained about. There was an allegation against an unknown officer. Rule 1 did not properly secure complainant's dog, which I recommended be unfounded in accordance with General Order 120-1, Section 8, and the department agreed. MI 2025-001. In 2021, complainant and her neighbor disputed the location of the lot line between their property. Complainant received a summons for trespassing and harassing her neighbor. Complainant alleged that with a quite snarky tone, Sergeant 1 said, "You will just have to show that survey to the judge." In 2022, complainant disputed her summons with the professional standards unit, and it was determined that there was probable cause to issue the summons. During her complaints in 2022 about this incident, complainant did not complain about her conversation with Sergeant 1. Body-worn camera of her 2021 conversation with Sergeant 1 is no longer available. There's an allegation against Sergeant 1. A Rule 1 customer service value spoke to complainant in a snarky tone. I recommended that this be closed no finding in accordance with General Order 120-1 3G, and the department agreed. MI 2025-002. An employee for a vehicle booting company and the people whose cars he booted engaged in a verbal and physical altercation. Officers 1 and 2 responded, and all of the parties were interviewed and then issued summons. Employee alleged that Officer 1 grabbed his phone from his hands and refused to return it to him for 20 minutes, was racist towards employee, threatened to arrest employee, and threw the summons at him. Body-worn camera, according to PSU, refuted these allegations. Both the panel and monitor are restricted from access to the underlying evidence. Employee did not respond to requests to permit access to the evidence. This case is administratively closed pending the panel or the monitor receiving access to the evidence. MI 2025-003. PSU received an anonymous email with multiple links to videos posted by a Boulder First Amendment auditor alleging that BPD officers were harassing the auditor. The auditor denied that she filed this complaint, and the anonymous complainant did not respond to requests for more information about alleged misconduct. Several of the video links involved incidents already investigated under MI 2024-049, MI 2024-054, and MI 2024-069. Remaining video captured instances that the monitor identified as opportunities for coaching responding officers and sergeants on the following topics: body-worn camera activation, providing names and business cards upon request, process for registering complaints with PSU. Chief Redfern instructed PSU to ensure that the recommended coaching takes place. Allegations are unknown officer, Rule 4, harassed the auditor. Monitor recommendations against the unknown officer are administratively closed in accordance with General Order 120-1 3F, and the department agreed. Okay. Water. In February, the case statistics, the monitor classified 8 cases, 1 of misconduct, 2 community inquiries, 1 community feedback, and 4 unspecified incidents. I observed 1 interview, had 0 critical incident scene response, and I deemed 4 investigations thorough and complete, and BPD closed 13 cases. Looking at the open docket, as of March 6th, 2025, there are 36 cases. 13 of those are classified, 12 of those are pending monitor classification, and 11 of them are in the professional standards unit preliminary investigation status. Looking at the 2024 cases from the first 3 quarters of the year, there are 3 cases that are open. MI 2024-046 is pending panel review. MI 2024-058 is with the Chief of Police. And SM 2024-001 is also pending panel review. And the total number of 2024 cases that remain open at this date are 12. Sharing with you just some of the things that I did regarding additional outreach in the community. I presented at the Hispanic Community Session at Family Learning Center with Amistad. I attended various community events, including multiple local Black History Month celebrations, the Boulder Reporting Lab community meeting, homeless a TED Talk about homelessness in Boulder, the Bias Inside Us exhibit opening reception, and the Downtown Boulder Partnership Awards. I also collaborated with the Boulder Valley School District Executive on youth art contests specifically and Boulder Police Oversight in general. Anyone have any questions? Chico.
Yes, can you go back to the second slide when you just started?
We got there.
Yes. So yes. So just for the benefit of the new guys who've come on board, when you say the cases are waiting, the last bullet point,
Yes.
there is 8. You said 1 had been scheduled, 1 is yet to be scheduled. So what's the hold up with the other 6?
Those are cases that they're still being investigated or somewhere in the chain of command at BPD.
Okay. So then go back to your second last slide where you have 12 cases.
This one?
Yes, the last. So just talk around these 2 issues for the benefit of the new guys.
Sure. So classified cases, where there are 13 currently classified cases, those are cases that the preliminary investigation has been done by the Professional Standards Unit, and I've reviewed them and identified the allegations, and they're moving on to the next stage. Then, all of those cases, but for 1, have been voted on by the panel. There are 12 that I need to review and determine how they're going to be classified. So that would be either a misconduct, serious misconduct. It could be community inquiries, community feedback, or unspecified incident. And then there are 11 that have not hit my desk for my classification, where PSU is still working on that preliminary investigation.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
The one that you did not vote on, that the panel decided not to vote on today.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the 12, you said there was 1 that just wasn't voted on completely, right? Is that what you were saying out of the 12?
13 are, there's the number 12 on the slide also. So there's 13 of the classified cases have already been voted on by the panel. 1 of them is classified, and in an hour and a half will be voted on by the panel also.
Got it, okay.
Sterling. I see your hand. You're muted though.
Sorry, on my iPad and it's giving me issues. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just had a question about the case with the tow truck driver and about the evidence being restricted. I've never seen that before. Is there anything you can explain why that's restricted?
There is a state law that apparently went into effect last year, and now we are starting to see the repercussions that create situations where without a petition by the defendant, the case gets sealed to only law enforcement and personnel and court personnel eyes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's something we're going to be talking more about and the April 11th training with the police department.
Great question. Great question. Sherry, in the agenda, we have New Vista, right?
Yes, I just wanted to say that the event with Amistad went well, and that I know is a relationship that the panel hopes to move forward with in the future. And I've already talked to Soledad that had she been in town, I absolutely would have tapped her so that she could speak in Spanish to the event, but I was very glad to have the opportunity regardless. The youth art contest deadline is next Friday. If any of you have high schoolers or middle schoolers in your life with artistic bents or friends who do, please share it out with them. And I had reached out to all of the high school social studies teachers at Boulder High, Fairview, New Vista, and the Boulder Tech Center, and basically introduced myself and offered to go speak to any of their classes if they thought that would work with their curriculum. And a teacher from New Vista reached out, so we are going to be working on having me come speak. And the class is basically focused on students like learning some of their rights. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
I have a question. Some of these reports have panel recommendations and other ones don't. Is that because some of them don't go through the panel, but just through the monitor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So absent pretty unusual circumstances, the recommendations will be either from the panel or from the monitor.
Sometimes when I classify a case, I already make recommendations from the front end.
Right.
But I generally, unless I would strongly disagree, I would not make additional recommendations, but I can. But it's unusual. So yeah, that's why sometimes it says panel and sometimes it says monitor.
And also the panel doesn't review all the cases, so we vote for the cases that the panel wants to review.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't prevent Sherry from reviewing the cases.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
So I'm just seeing like Barry's here and I'm trying to figure out where she is on the agenda.
Case review manual feedback.
Oh, that one.
There we go. Okay. So our next item in the agenda is panel updates, guest speakers, ad hoc items. And we start with April 7th. We have our next meeting with the chief.
Yeah, it should be on, or it is on all of your calendars, but especially for the new panel members. This is a great opportunity to ask questions and learn what BPD is doing or just rolled out or is in the works, or for them sometimes to ask for feedback. There is a document that I link in the weekly emails where if you have questions, you can add them there. We try to give the chief notice in advance so that he can, if it's a big topic, prepare to bring someone who might be able to speak more knowledgeably and in detail than he would be able to, but be able to come prepared to answer a question. One thing that is anticipated for this April 7th meeting is that Dr. Daniel Reinhardt, he's the data scientist for BPD, is actually going to be explaining the new dashboards that rolled out on use of force and contacts that has arrest and can get disaggregated by like race and gender. So that is probably going to take up a larger portion of the meeting, but I'm pretty excited to have Dr. Reinhardt walk us through that presentation. But if you have topics that you're wondering about, put it on that question. And we'll probably have a more extensive time to introduce the new panel members to the chief also.
Great. So next topic, training. So we have a training coming up.
We have 2 trainings coming up. Again, these are on your calendars. April 11th is going to be at BPD, and it is mandatory for our new panel members who haven't taken it before. But also I think this is a training that panel members tend to get very engaged. And we're also including an overview of BPD. So that might provide information that panel members maybe haven't received in the past. So even if people can't make it the entire time coming for that first module of BPD overview, I think could be really really helpful and another opportunity to, talk with the new panel members in person.
Excellent. And then April 21st, right?
Oh, yes, and April 21st, Farah is developing a case review training for panel members, which should be very beneficial for new panel members, but also extremely helpful for current panel members also.
Can you just say what time the training at BPD is on the event?
I think we're slotting noon to 5. You said you were, I think, available at noon.
Yes.
And next we have case review management. So that will be you, Farah.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Farah Muskinen, consultant for the city of Boulder. Welcome to the new panel members. Good to see you again. Just a quick update on the case manual. Thank you to the panel members that gave feedback. My brain has been churning with not necessarily redoing it, but updating it based on the feedback. But there's a couple things that I wanted to make sure that we discussed and that was clear, because I think it might have gotten this in my email that I sent a couple weeks ago. One is the document that you sent is not what the document is going to look like in its finality. In my experience of doing these types of things, it's way easier, much easier to have the content finalized before you kind of go into the beautification phase. And so it won't be kind of like, my plan was never for it to be kind of like a boring Word document. I do plan on including some visualization, but I really wanted to make sure that I got kind of well, of course, the content, and making sure that the process of how you review complaints was accurate, and any substantive information that you felt was needed is in there. So I just want to make that, make sure everybody understands that. The second thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page of, in that document, there was a link to a worksheet. And essentially my idea behind the worksheet was, let's say you're sitting at home, you're doing a case review, this worksheet would be something that you could use to write down your notes, your initial impressions, to write down like what you feel like a potential disposition could be, write down your questions that you may have for the panel that's reviewing the case and or for Sherry. Is never the intent for this. It was done in Google, and my note in the email saying that the final product would not be in Google. I was using Google Forms as just an example, but this worksheet is literally only for personal use, and it's optional. Like, you don't have to use it. So the goal was to have it kind of in two forms. One, for those who like, an electronic version, to have an electronic version, and then those who would prefer to have like a Word version, it would be sent to you via email, and then you could print it and use, hand notes. But this is just really to help you organize your thoughts. It would be no different than however you do case review now. If you pull out a notebook and write down your notes, it's the same thing. This is just more of a guide and like an organized way of helping you think through what you're reviewing when you're doing case reviews. So I just want to make sure those are two things. And again, I need to emphasize, one, Google Forms is not going to be used. It's only example only. And two, this is an optional resource to use. Like, if you don't think that the worksheet is going to be helpful for you and how you review cases, you don't have to use it. But there might be someone, particularly in the beginning, or just, in terms of organizing their thoughts to be better prepared for case review, may find it helpful to use. So again, emphasizing the point that it's optional and will not be in Google. It's going to be in whatever form that's consistent with Boulder policies, and also that you guys have access to and can use in how you do your work, right? And you don't have to turn it in. It's not an assignment. I mean, it's literally for your use only. So just want to make sure that those are clear. The other thing that I'm specifically looking for feedback on is, when I did the first iteration of the draft, I literally started at the point of a complaint coming in, through the end. And just doing that, the document was like 15 pages. So when I came back to it, I'm like, well, maybe we should just start at the point that you guys have already voted to review the case. And so the document that I sent you starts at that point. If you think that it would be helpful to start at the point that the complaint comes in, I'm happy to put that. I have to beef it up a little bit, but I have this, content around that. It's just that I was kind of balancing between having a document that is substantive enough, but not too long, because I feel like if it's too long, you may not use it. And I really want you to use it or have something, essentially this is meant to teach you how to swim before we throw you in the pool, as it relates to case review. So if you think that if the general sentiment is that it would be helpful to have the process of, what happens when a complaint comes in through the case review, then I'm happy to put that back in there. I just kind of wanted to give you some context about why I started from the point that after you have voted. So like tonight, you're probably going to vote on some cases. So this manual will start at that point. You've reviewed, you voted to review case X. So now what happens next? The manual answers that question. Does that make sense to everybody? And so, so essentially I'm really looking at feedback on that to see kind of where you want, what is most beneficial of the starting point for you guys. Because this is essentially for you. I mean, I'm not going to use it. And then, we can, just go from there, in terms of what you think will be most helpful. Or any other point, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be those 2 points. It could be any point that you think is helpful. Sorry, someone was saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying, for me personally, I think the way that you have it already, starting at the point of after we voted, that makes most sense to me.
There's one thing that I'm going to change. I think this is based on feedback that I got from Lizzie. I think that it's helpful to have the appropriate sections of the ordinance in there, but I kind of think it's probably better in the appendix so you can refer to it as needed. I think it throws off the vibe in the middle of the document a little bit. So I think I am going to move that. After I saw that feedback from Lizzie, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I am going to move some things around, and focus more on the process part on the front end. And then the things that you might need to reference, stick all that in the appendix. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we have Alan here with a question.
It looks to me like this panel recommendation template kind of follows what we already get from Sherry. And it seems kind of redundant for us to read Sherry's report and then we have to fill out information on this template.
You don't have to.
Well, that's all I'm saying is that it just doesn't, it seems redundant anyway. Because this, we might reference that the monitor uses these criteria for which he submits a recommendation or whatever for report to us.
I think it's.
I just want to make sure I understand. Is he talking about your evidence summary? I'm not quite sure what document he's talking about.
It's called panel recommendation template.
And you get that from Sherry.
I think it must be the Google form you're referring to.
I think what he gets from me is the evidence outline.
That's what I'm asking. So you're saying that the evidence outline is redundant with the worksheet?
I think so.
I just want to make sure I understand.
But I think what needs to happen is that we be sure that the monitor's information matches up with our case review manual.
I think, Alan, the way I interpreted it, you guys can still hear me too when I'm facing this way, but the Google form is meant to give you a way to sort of structure your notes as you go through the review, if you want it. And at the top, the section where it's like the case details is really just for your reference. Like I know when I have 3 case reviews in a week, sometimes you sort of forget which one you're reviewing and, so it didn't feel redundant to me. I understand what you were saying, but I think it's like, if it's helpful for you to have a quick guide.
And I think I'm probably old school because I mark red lines in the margins.
You print stuff out, so you probably don't need it because you already have your own reference. Yeah.
I think it's a tool.
That's a
Yeah,
tool. Yeah,
It's a tool
I agree.
that-
100% optional as well.
yeah, yeah, of course. Yes.
I haven't been able to access the form, so I sent a request.
Okay, I'll do that right when we click. I'm trying to do it from my phone, but it's not working. I need to do it from my computer. So you'll have it in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I guess maybe just to like share with the rest of the group what you and I kind of went back and forth a little bit about. I had suggested adding more details about the early part of the process, mostly because that comes up a lot, new panel members of feeling like I don't really understand what's expected of me during voting on cases. I don't really know what the criteria should be. Am I just deciding? So I thought it could be helpful to have that kind of spelled out. And if it made the document pretty long, I was sort of envisioning people using this or as like for reference, like I'm gonna reference this chunk because I'm about to go into a meeting. And then maybe later when I have like first case review, I'll read this other section rather than like feeling like you had to sit down and read the whole thing. But I guess hearing you first say that you don't feel like you need that right now after kind of having like your intro with Sherry, maybe that's less necessary. I would definitely defer to you guys on what you need.
Yeah. I mean, now that you put it like that, that does, sound appealing just to have a guide of what to be doing prior to voting. I wouldn't feel like the document was too long. I just figured that before the voting process, it would just be a matter of reading the file. But I was probably maybe assumptive. If there's more to do than that, then I could probably use step by step.
Yeah. Maybe there's like
But wait, I just want to make sure I understand this because like you don't, at the time that you're voting, you review the file after the vote, not before. Like, am I understanding that correctly? Right. Okay. So you have just essentially the summary that Sherry sends you.
Yes.
That's what you're relying on to vote yay or nay whether or not a case should be reviewed. Is that?
It's not
that-
this that we just went over.
No, you guys are right. I think so. They're talking about the case summaries, reviewing the case summary before the panel meeting, not reviewing the full case details.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay. And so what you're talking about, Lizzie, is adding like prior to a vote, adding something about what panel members should do prior to them voting on a case.
I mean, I think it could be really brief too, like what I suggested initially maybe is way too much depth, but if it's just like cases come in to PSU, PSU does a review, Sherry decides when the panel is ready to vote on them. The panel gets to read a case summary document before the meeting, and then the panel votes based on whatever criteria you determine for yourself. Like maybe even just those like 5 or 6 bullets is helpful to understand the process.
I'm gonna visualize that. I think maybe putting that in like a flow chart or some sort of visual might be helpful, and then some content with it. That actually won't make it significantly longer. That's maybe a page. Yeah.
That would be great. I would love that. Yeah, I'd still look at that.
And I don't know, Farah, maybe what is expected of people, like because I remember we didn't have any training the first time we had to vote on the case. We had no idea what we were doing. So we ended up voting, I mean, we did our best, but and so maybe what are the expectations? How do we read a summary? What are we looking for in particular? Maybe, I don't know, but just a process a little bit, and maybe explaining also like what is classified, what is PSU, like there's so many
that's in there.
names.
That's in there.
It's in there, yeah.
That's in there. Okay, so I'll add that. I'll add that section and add a little bit, because essentially what I think I'm hearing is kind of getting you prepared to the point of when you vote, and then also kind of delineating what the expectations are when you take a vote.
Right.
Would that be a good? Okay. Okay, that makes total sense. Yeah, and that's not, 2 pages tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Farah. I really appreciate the work you and the thoughtfulness that you put into that. It's gonna be very, very helpful.
So I plan on working on that and I'll send you guys an updated draft, hopefully by next Monday. It's nothing, that I think, let me think this through. Let me think this through a little bit more because I don't want to waste your time on reviewing drafts. I do think that it might be better for you to give me feedback on a draft that has kind of some of the beautification that I'm thinking through on it. So I might skip the second draft and give you an almost final draft to review. And then I want to add 2 seconds of a little bit more context. What we're going to do on April 21st, I'm still in search of a right case. And I'll be honest with you, I've done these trainings before and I like to take the cases from the Chicago Oversight system because on their website, they post everything, the body worn camera, the police reports, the reports that are drawn up by the investigator. And it's really, really helpful to me to do these trainings with an actual complaint that came from somebody. I prefer not to do the case that involves an officer involved shooting because those are very, very intricate and you guys really won't see those. So it's taking me a little bit longer to find a good example. But essentially, I'm going to give you an example with the materials and we're going to walk it through with the manual in hand and kind of do that as a live, think of it as like a live group case review and kind of walk that through. And this might also show us what might need to be added or not to the manual too, because the manual is going to be a working document. So when I give you the final version, it'll be final in quotes, right? If we need to edit it, we can edit it down the road. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing. I want to honor your time. So I think we've scheduled it for maybe an hour and a half and 2 hours, but I'm aiming for an hour and a half of the exercise. And if we need time for discussion. So it should be, a pretty, not quick thing, but it's not going to be extensively time consuming for you guys. And it's more of an active exercise where we're all participating together. So that's kind of my goal for the 21st. And that's my update. So I'm gonna make those 2 changes. I'm going to work on editing the draft and adding some beautification so you can really kind of get a better idea of what the end product is gonna look like. And then send you that for some feedback. And then we'll have it, ready to go for our training on April 21st. But if anything comes up in between then, you guys know you can email me, text me, or if you want to talk about it, just ping me. And I'll give you guys the access in 2 seconds.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Farah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so next in our agenda is public comment. For our new bylaws, we've changed that. So do we have members of the public?
Just one person.
Just one person, okay. So every member of the public will be asked if they'd like to comment and be unmuted to answer. The public will get 2 uninterrupted minutes to comment. That can be extended at the discretion of the co-chairs. And we will start with. Oh, thank you for that fancy timer. Great. I don't have to use it.
Haley Carter.
Okay. Kaylee, do you wish to provide public comment?
She's just.
Okay, we're working on it.
Just ask again.
Okay. Should I ask again? Kaylee? Kaylee Harden, would you like to provide comment right now? You can unmute yourself. Doesn't seem. Okay. So with that, we will. Should we take like a 3-minute bio break before we go to closed session? And then we're moving to closed session and we'll be back.
I think you still need to vote whether people need to like make a motion if they want.
Oh, okay. So should we do that after we come back from the bio break or should we do it immediately?
Why not do it so if we do go to closed session, then we can figure out the tech.
Okay, perfect. So we need a motion to go to closed session, please, in a second.
I'll make a motion, we go to closed session.
Thank you, Alan. Milan is
Could we
second.
consider a shorter closed session? Can we specify, since there's so few cases, do we need 20 minutes? Let's take 20 minutes and if we're done earlier, we can. Okay, I just come back.
Yeah.
I guess we can end early.
Okay, vote please. Show of hands to go to closed session after the bio break.
We can't vote.
You two, you're right. Not yet.
How dare you?
Eddie, Tico, and Jason, I don't see. Well, perfect. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll be back to the session. Our next items in the agenda will be final regular business, starting with case review voting. So we have one case to review. And that will be MI 2025-005. Did everyone have the chance to review the summary? Yes. Okay, Sherry, the roll call tonight.
Oh, don't you usually say like what the rule violations are?
Oh, should I read that? Okay. Let's see, okay, wait, let me zoom.
I can do it. This case involves allegations against one officer. They involve 3 Rule 1 and 1 Rule 4 allegations. We are voting either yes to review the case or no, not to, or to abstain if necessary. Soledad,
Yes.
Milen,
Yes.
Lizzie. Yes. Kristen,
Yes.
Jason. Jason, you're muted.
Sorry, I hit the space bar, but it did not work. No, for me.
Chico,
No.
Alan,
Yes.
AB,
No.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do we do volunteers? part?
Yep.
Okay, so we need volunteers to review the case. Taking volunteers. Can new panelists volunteer for reviewing the case? Pending. their
They
training?
need their training and they need to shadow a case, so I would probably
Okay.
say not right now, but maybe
Okay.
next time.
Okay,
If we're 4. We could shadow.
Yeah, I mean, they
mean,
can
if we
shadow
have
any
3
cases that are coming
okay,
up.
If
cool.
we have 3 panelists plus 1.
Okay, so volunteers to review the case? I'll say me, I haven't volunteered for one.
Really?
I volunteered you for 1.
Okay.
I forgot to do it.
I did volunteer. So it's VC Milan, sorry.
Sorry.
So it's a DB case, so I can get it.
Of course, thank you.
Case number, please.
MI 2025-005.
Easy.
And we can volunteer to shadow?
Yes.
I'd like to do that.
Can I also volunteer to shadow?
Yeah, it would be great actually, for you, both of you.
Oh, we need to add you to this new chart. Sorry, do you have that, Selena?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm not gonna try right now.
Cool, so, so assignment for new cases, and we're good. Case assignment status, do we need to do that?
Oh, that may be moving forward.
Okay, perfect. So the exciting adventure of the day. So we are going to proceed with the co-chair election, and I want to thank Alan and Milan for proposing way of conducting this election. So I'm gonna hand the mic to you both so you can lead us in the process.
Okay, so we, just for new panelists, we've decided to, Alan and I created a committee to review the process of elections, and we've decided to make it more of a kind of a sociocratic type of approach to elections where everybody on the panel, unfortunately, except the two student members, can, oh, actually, I don't know. Can anybody on this panel, even this, can be elected as co-chairs? And then the top four, we will have 2 rounds. The top 4 people will be asked to consent, if shall they be elected to be co-chairs. If they do consent, then they go to the second round. If they don't consent, then we'll take the next person from the list. And so it was just a way to, rather than run for a position, to give everybody a chance to be selected by their co-panelist, so that because sometimes we can see a leader in a person who doesn't feel like a leader themselves. And so that was opening it up to people who may not see themselves as leader, even though they're very qualified for it. So we're experimenting, we're limited in some ways by our bylaws. So we had to work around that. But anyway, it will be in 2 rounds. What we're gonna ask you, I think Selena and Sherry prepared a form where you select 2 names of the panelists. I want to say that, and we're gonna have a round of intros and a little bit like getting to know each other with some questions, and then we're gonna look at what are we looking into, what skills and talents are we looking for in a co-chair for a panel such as this one. And so, and then we'll have the form, we'll put 2 names. Sherry will be in charge of tallying the numbers, and then we'll go to the second round, and hopefully we'll have 2 co-chairs by the end of tonight. We will. And so,
No one is leaving the.
So, does anybody have any questions, any remarks? Like, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so we're gonna start with around, Alan and I got together and we decided that we were gonna do like a quick round of intros. I want to say that there's one panel member who couldn't be here tonight. His name is Bill De La Cruz. I talked to him and asked him to send a bio to Selena, and to also let Selena know if he consent or not to being a co-chair. Shall he be in the second round? So I want everybody to also consider this person, Bill, for potentially being a lead co-chair tonight. So we decided 3 minutes each to give a quick intro, and then we thought that we would like to know about you. How do you deal with stressful situations, and what kind of support do you need in such cases? In 3 minutes, like just a little, it's short, but we felt like since we deal with a lot of stressful situation, it's nice to know how we can support each other and what to expect. Like some of us shut down, some of us are like referred to scream. So just knowing that will allow us to know how to respond and support each other better. So whoever want to start, and maybe we should start with online folks. Yeah, Jason, do you want to start, or Amy?
I'm willing to start and say that I'm not interested in this because I don't have enough
please
time for it.
Please don't.
Sorry?
So that's one of the things that I'd like for us to refrain from doing is like, in order to keep the energy and the process, do not say whether you want to be co-chair right now. Let's wait till the second round if you're selected, if that's possible. So that, because we don't want to change the dynamic of the process.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. What I'll say is that I've been on for the panel for quite some time. Appreciate the work that's being done, and especially in this last year, I've watched Soledad and Victor do a great job. Especially in the beginning with a couple of things that I think divided us, I think that that is what I'm looking for in a person, is somebody that both can bring their own thoughts and ideas, but at the same time, um, understand that in that role, your goal is for everybody to be heard
Jason?
and respected. Yes.
Sorry, we'd like to have a quick intro of who you are.
Okay.
And tell us how you deal with stressful situations and what kind of support you need in stressful situations.
Okay. I believe I've been in a number of stressful situations over my life. If I know they're coming, I work real hard to prepare for them. And part of my preparation is to try to understand the players in the situation and put myself into their shoes and see how they are approaching it. If I can't, then I typically will look at certain things that I'm seeing happening. For example, I believe that if a person is exhibiting anger, then they are hurt in some way. And because of that hurt, that pain, they are expressing it in anger towards somebody else. It might not be anger towards somebody else. It might just be saying, I'm in pain. And at the same time, what I'll try to see in myself is if I am expressing anger, what kind of pain am I in? And how can I change and recognize that, and maybe be more honest about my own pain. What I will also say is that I have done a lot of personal work to understand who I am and what I am, and how people perceive me. And it's an ongoing process. I will always do that. Some days I'll be better than others. I
How
believe
can
in
we
group.
support you?
Yeah, and I feel that support, and I'm very appreciative of the group. It takes me a little while to get to be trusting as part of my childhood, but I am willing, and I do like to get to know folks. Anyway, I think I've taken too long, and I'm hoping that other people won't take as long as me because.
No, you're fine. You were the first one, so we're trying this out.
Okay. Well, I
and if
appreciate
we
the
try-
opportunity. Thank you.
Can you tell us like 30 seconds who you are, like what you do, or something about you to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm a lawyer in town. I mostly have been a criminal defense practitioner. I recall when I was a young public defender and how angry I was with police, and I see that often with the young attorneys that I do see around. I'm not angry with police now. There are some police I'm very angry with, but I think I have a better understanding of where they come from, and that's taken time. I've lived in this area in Boulder City for I think 25 years or thereabouts. and practiced here as well as other parts of Colorado. And I have a fair understanding of the system from time of walking down the street to end of sentence, if that is what ends up happening, including all of the interactions with police, both initially through the process and eventually.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. AB?
Hi. What would you want me to answer? How do I deal with stressful situations?
Yeah, quick bio.
What do you
Introduce,
want? What do you want
introduce
first?
yourself. Introduce yourself first so that we get to know you, and then if you can, yeah, how you deal with stressful situation and how the panel or individuals can support you.
Okay. I'm AB and I live in Boulder, North Boulder, up in the foothills. I'm divorced. I'm a single mom. I'm parenting my 15-year-old twins solo. They're high performance athletes, so I'm everywhere, every day, all the time. A lot of these meetings are in the car because I drive back and forth to Denver daily. So I'm a life coach. I have been a coach for over 30 years. I'm also a potter. I help people connect with themselves. That's what I do. That's my superpower. What's the next thing? You want to know how I deal with stressful situations?
Yes.
I live in a perpetual state of stress. I don't know what unstressful situations look like. I love Jason's answer of if he could see it coming. Like, what would that be like? I because of what I do for work and because of the two kids, one is a ballerina in Denver at Colorado Ballet. She's in the pre-professional program. The other one is an elite soccer player. So I'm traveling all around all the time. And one of the things that, I'm sorry, there's a dog in the trash. Okay. And I'm back. Perpetual stress. And yeah, that's my life. So how do I deal with it? I'm very used to juggling. And the things that I'm really devoted to, which is where right now at 58, I'm trying to hone in where I need to be. And because I can't be everywhere. So I need to be there for my kids. I need to be there for myself and the organizations that are true to my heart, which, as I've told Victor, I love POP and clarifying my life and taking a lot of things out that are just making noise allows me to focus more on the things that are important to me, which relieves some of that stress. Not completely. It's always there. But there's some light.
Okay, and is there a way you'd like us to support you when you're in a stressful situation, or you'd like people to support you in general?
I think the only thing that you guys as a panel can do is just continue doing what you're doing. Have patience with me as I'm learning how to be part of a panel. And I'm not really good at letting people in that way. So I have this feeling that I can do it all and I can't. So pulling me in, Sherry's been really good about like texting me and saying, hey, where are you? I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm supposed to be there. So I think that's the best way. That's the best kind of support I can have, unless someone wants to drive someone back and forth to Denver. That would be great support since you asked. I will take you up on that. I'm not joking. But, so this single mama could use all the help she can get.
Thank you so much.
No, thank
Thanks,
you.
AB. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Izzy, do you want to go next?
Sure. I also just have to warn you, I have a hard stop at 8:30. And I know we're kind of rapidly burning through our time, so I will try to make up a little time.
I'm Lizzie. I've been on the panel for 2 years. I live in South Boulder. I have 2 kids, 5th grade and 7th grade. They're both super into sports as well, so I feel your pain, AB. Were you at NYCDA this weekend? Probably at the convention center?
No, because my kids were there high schoolers there
Yeah.
for sports.
It's a ballet thing. It's okay.
Oh, you're talking about the YAGP?
Similar, but all good.
Oh, okay. Well, we were at the YAGP like last weekend because they got 3rd place and they'll be going to Tampa. Woohoo! So I've got to buy plane tickets and see how I'm going to afford all this. It's not pain, it's pleasure.
So that's a lot of my time these days. But I also love to read. Always up for talking about books. If anyone has good recommendations, I love going to the movies. Always up for talking about movies as well. For work, I right now work for the Denver Department of Public Health and Environment. I'm super passionate about local government work, and especially public health. I've worked in this job for the last 3 years and really fallen in love with it. I work with our data science, population health epidemiology, and communicable disease epidemiology teams, which is super fascinating and occasionally kind of terrifying, seeing all the near misses and things that public health is doing every day to prevent huge disasters. So it's very rewarding, very challenging, and sometimes difficult, especially in current climates like this. So it's been an interesting time. I really love working with the panel. In a previous job before this one, I worked for the Denver Sheriff Department in kind of a reform focused role. And that was a incredible learning experience. I learned a lot about some of the really great work that happens in a law enforcement agency and a lot of the really difficult systemic issues. How real those challenges are, but also how difficult and complicated it can be to solve them. It looks really simple often from the outside or from the community. And it's really hard. So that gave me a lot of perspective on work like what we're doing here. And I really appreciate the ability to kind of work on in this area with my own. So as for stress, I need alone time. I need quiet. Kind of an introvert. I need to recharge for sure. But I also, part of the way I manage stress is by doing things and jumping in and trying to solve problems. So, this panel helps me do that sometimes, feeling like we're part of the solution. So that's me.
Thank you.
Kristen?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm too new. No, I'm not. I will refrain from any of that. Like you had asked, then, but I am a cultural anthropologist. I teach it to you. I teach classes on gender, culture, and sexuality this semester. I also teach classes on policing and popular culture, and I teach classes on Brazil and police and community and gang violence there. I also have been doing writing a lot of country conditions reports for people seeking asylum because of persecution by gangs or because of sexual violence in Brazil. So I, in doing ethnographic field work in prisons and amongst people who have been gang involved, I'm really good at kind of compartmentalizing things and, kind of focusing on the why and how to help people rather than myself. I too am a single mom of 2 kids. One is now in college, which is both great and great because I have free time for myself. I can go to yoga once in a while instead of just being an Uber driver, unpaid for children. But it's also, even though she has a scholarship, I still have to pay for housing in New York City, which is not inexpensive at all. And then I have another kid who I run around. A theater kid. when I am stressed out, I breathe a lot. I am getting better at asking for help. I'm getting better at saying no. As well. So that's about it.
Thank you. Alan, do you want to go next?
Sure.
Yes, I'm just kidding.
I'm Alan. I live in North Boulder. Incidentally, I have to also be around 8:30, so I
Okay.
hope we don't break the quorum. But
We'll make it. Oh,
I
Skippers and.
I write books and I make movies, and COVID or no COVID, I figured out I don't get out much. And so I occupy my time with that kind of stuff, but stress wise, I've always found myself to be kind of even keel, but I've been in enough sort of facilitation experiences where I've had to really deal with angry people, actually almost going to fisticuffs. And so it's like Jason says, I anticipate that happening all the time. I know it happens spontaneously. And so actually it was a city training that I took many years ago about how to intervene in anger situations, and I've used that technique quite a bit over the years. So I'm pretty good at settling people down. But I think the most preventive methods is really just kind of doing what we're doing now, where we get to know each other, talk, maybe do things outside of the meeting. And what else am I supposed to say?
How we can support you.
Oh, you can support me. I think just keep doing the work and be open to, for everyone to be open to support, because if you have this sort of mutual network, it makes it a lot easier rather than they say, well, you did last week, or did you hear what that happened? Just being transparent and being straightforward.
Thank you. I guess I skipped myself. I'll just go next so that we're going around. My name is Milan. Outside of the police oversight panel, I'm a translator, freelance translator. I've been doing that for many years, and I do a lot of volunteer work and organizing and activism at the intersection of racial justice and climate change. I've been in Boulder for many years. I was born and raised in France. Yeah, I came to Boulder about 30 years ago. I have a 23-year-old daughter who's wonderful, and I'm on the panel because I believe that anybody in a position of power wearing a gun needs an oversight by citizens, and everybody in our very white city of Boulder needs to be represented, and especially the people who we tend to forget in a city like Boulder. So I really believe in representation and in keeping, as I said, anyone with a gun in a position of power accountable. And when I'm stressed, I think everybody knows. I think everybody knows when I'm like feeling stressed a little bit. Sometimes I need to shut down. Sometimes I'm visibly upset. I think in terms of support, I'm also an introvert, and I need to kind of go and lick my wounds by myself and then just talk things through eventually so that I can process it and compose it. So the way I try to do it also is going back to my meditation practice and trying to start running it. So those are the two things that really help me deal with stress. And as far as the panel goes, I think the panel has been pretty good overall at supporting me or each other. I feel like there's definitely camaraderie here, and yeah. So I think the panel is already doing it. So I that.
Sure. So I'm gonna keep it short. Soledad Diaz, originally from Chile. For kids, they all graduated or are graduating. My last youngest one from Fairview, 3 of them are attending or attended CU. My husband teaches at CU, and I am the public policy director for the State Coalition Against Domestic Violence, so I work in policy a lot. That's my job, actually. And I identify as Latina, even though I learned that I was a person of color 6 years ago when I back to Boulder, so that's been interesting. And the reason that I'm here is because I think I have skills for whatever reason, and that is my obligation to put them to service of my community. And my first, I guess, motive for joining the panel was to give a voice to Hispanic, Latino immigrants that live in Boulder that are not seen. When I'm stressed, I'm from Chile. I mean, we had 2 of the 3 biggest earthquakes on the history on Earth. I don't know, unless it's an earthquake on 9 scale, I don't get stressed. I'm pretty good at dealing with stress. I'm calm, I think. And I'm able to kind of process and talk through things, and I get mad later when I'm alone, but usually I don't. I raised 4 teenagers at the same time, so I'm literally over it. I got surgery, so and the support, I think I can say that the support that I have needed in days that I haven't showed up because life had gotten messy, I received it. And I'm super grateful. So I think that's what we're here for, as you said. Like, if one can show up at any given point and having people that have your back, I think that's the deal. That's it.
Thank you.
Please, yeah.
My name is Curtis Rogers. I am originally from Indianapolis. Traveled to Boulder from Naropa to study psychology. I found my way to the police oversight panel due to another student leader who I have a lot of respect for, who is involved in social engagement. Told me that this might be a good way to serve. I feel that I have a sincere desire to be of service to the community that I'm a part of, and I'm always open to learn ways to better do that. The way that I deal with stress is I typically look at stress as like a way of overwhelm for me. That's usually when I become stressed. And the way I found to navigate that is to just focus on one thing at a time and kind of narrow my focus down to the next step that's in front of me. And that seems to reduce my stress. And the ways that I would feel supported is clear communication. As long as I know that communication is clear, back and forth, I'm able to communicate with you and you communicate with me in a safe space, and I believe I can feel supported in that way.
Great. Thank you. All right, hello everyone again. My name is Donnie Austin. I am actually a transfer student, so I was at Harvard University studying corporate law, and then I transferred back home to CU Boulder, where I am double majoring in accounting and real estate, and also double minoring in multicultural leadership studies and music. A little bit about me, I would say I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of people in the room. I actually operate under stress. Stress to me is what keeps me moving. Like I set a goal for myself each day and I make sure I accomplish that goal by the end of the day. And I'm just always doing so much that there's a lot of stress going on. Personally, I do have a podcast, so I'm in charge of a podcast called No Justice, No Peace, but KJKP. With this podcast, we have received lots of attention. So I was able to be in charge of all history teachers in 186 high schools. I was in charge of providing professional development to them
making sure they were adequate and up to date with what they were teaching their students and that they were actually right for teaching their students. I do a lot of advocacy work. I identify as multiracial. I am Puerto Rican, Nigerian, and Hawaiian. Kind of a weird little combination, but beautiful. Thank you. And so I want to make sure that I'm advocating for all different communities, and that's where I really started my journey. It definitely started with when I was in high school, I wanted to take an African American history course. And they were like, oh no, only seniors could take that. Like, you're a freshman, you can't take that. And I just thought it was very weird because it wasn't required. So I made sure that history representing all different students that were in my community was infused into all different content areas in schools. So I got a resolution passed, and that's how I started working. An example of stress, I will say once I got the resolution passed, I was able to be on the Today Show, a couple magazine covers, White House Education Board. I was working with them, Denver Broncos, Nuggets, Deion Sanders, etc. But once you get a lot of attention, comes a lot of hate as well. So with this, just advocating for equity and minority history and within schools, I did receive death threats and a lot of hate mail or people threatening to come up to my school at the time to get me or harming my family, things like that. But again, like that also teaches me that what I'm doing is right, and advocating for my community is what I dedicated my life to. So that's exactly what I was going to continue doing. I didn't let that stop me. I leaned into my family, my beliefs, my values, how I embody leadership myself and what that could look like for other students, and how I was just putting them in high places where they could be at the table and speak about just the resources they could have, letting them know the resources they could have, and providing them like amplified opportunities. So being part of this panel, my mother was an officer actually. So I was raised by my grandparents. I wasn't raised by my mom or dad, but just knowing that she was an officer and being able to see her like some of the time and some of the responsibilities she was doing, I knew it was definitely a right decision. And being able to work with APD and DPD in the past, it also taught me a lot about what it's like to be close to officers, a lot of like insights. I knew that I wanted to be part of the Boulder community and see what we have to offer here.
Thank you so much. And you didn't say, how can we support you?
I will say, honestly, I already kind of feel very supported. I am kind of new to the Boulder community, and I definitely wanted to find ways to like advocate for my community here in Boulder. So just being able to like apply for this panel once I found out about it, also from like a friend as well, it just taught me like, I would say a lot, it like provided me with another opportunity that I could take in order to reach my goals that I want to reach.
Selena?
Yeah, I'll read off Bill's introduction. So his introduction is, as a human being, I'm guided by two core beliefs: that everyone has a good heart and that everyone deserves to be trusted. These beliefs shape the way I engage with others, allowing me to be open and accepting of different perspectives. I strive to build meaningful connections, fostering authentic relationships where both people can learn and grow. I am committed to continuous learning and taking responsibility when I misstep, being accountable to my actions and apologizing when necessary. I believe that everyone has a story, and when we create spaces to hear each other's stories, we cultivate understanding and recognize that everyone is doing their best with the tools they have. So his professional background, he has spent 25 years working as a facilitator and a mediator, serving on various advisory and policy boards in both leadership and team member capacities. As a member of the team, he engages actively, stays informed, and contributes meaningfully to discussions. I'm just going to read this as a I. As a leader, I focus on facilitation, ensuring that all voices are heard and that discussions are productive. In my role as a co-chair of POP, I will work with the co-chair on behalf of the board and serve as a, I can't say that word, conduit, I don't know, I think so, to the independent police monitor, following up on making sure that the panel's desire are met. I want to work with the co-chair to make sure we have the necessary information to make informed decisions and for fostering an environment where respectful and compassionate dialogue can take place even when there is a disagreement. And then how he handles stressful situations. In stressful situations, I believe I operate at my best. I remain calm and focus on understanding the story and emotions driving the stress. Recognizing that stress is often tied to deeper personal narratives,
allows me to approach the situation with empathy. My approach is to assess whether a conversation should happen privately or within the larger group, ensuring that the dialogue is productive rather than reactionary and facilitated in a compassionate way. I do not use shame or blame when engaging in difficult discussions, as I believe that addressing conflict with curiosity and understanding leads to more meaningful resolutions. And the support needed for us to navigate stressful situations effectively as a panel, we must recognize that each of us plays a role in supporting one another. It is also important to be honest and willing to your own role in the stress or ultimately what we can do with each other is transforming the energy of the stress into productive conversations. I believe a conflict transformation workshop would be beneficial in helping us to develop a shared understanding of how to handle conflict productively. The support I need for everyone to acknowledge that we are all doing our best and that our best will work different depending on personal circumstances. If we can approach each other with patience and trust, we will create an environment where we can engage in honest conversations and move forward as an impactful panel.
Yeah. Do you want to give a quick intro about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Selena. I have been working with the city for almost 2 years. I am actually from California, so I just moved here to Colorado with my fiance. So I previously was working for a construction company, and I was doing HR there for quite some time. And I just wanted a different path in my life. I studied business management with a concentration in management. And I graduated during COVID, so that was definitely a weird time of my life because I had to decide exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life in such a weird moment of time. And then I was a server for a really long time, so I was in the restaurant industry for quite some time. And yeah, I just didn't really want that job for the rest of my life. So I actually ended up starting a really small business. It was more in relation to resale, more like. So I ended up just re-upping clothing, and then that ended for quite some time. And then I ended up with a construction job, so I was there for 3 years. And then, yeah, I am a middle child, so you know that I balance between an older sibling and a younger sibling, so I definitely have to be the mediator at times. I come from Mexican culture, so my parents are from Mexico. I'm first generation, and primarily my language was always Spanish, so my second language was English. So I grew up majority of the time hearing Spanish, but that's my background.
Thank you. Thank you. Sherry has sent us the form to our email, so we're ready to vote. If you want to open your computers and look for your email, see the email, we will have a link in there. And you can vote. We're skipping the second activity because time. We can do that some other time. Well, no, we can't. It's ready to go to anyway, next year. And so select two at the most, one or two names, and then press submit, and we'll go into the
So you're saying, you know? Because if I was in it and then now I'm not, so I'm going back to.
and I don't
Yes.
know, other members able to
No,
vote?
we're
No,
not.
so student members, you're not able to vote.
If you need to.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. How do we vote again?
If you log into your City of Boulder email, you should have a, there should be a link for you to basically fill out a form where you just click on the two people you want to, that you think are you recommend as leaders for this next year.
And we do that right now, this second?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, let me see if I can do this. Okay, thanks.
Also forgot to mention, I'm a former D1 athlete. Volleyball. I was playing volleyball for CU. I got injured.
Volleyball?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Many, many years ago.
What position were they used?
I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. In the Big Ten, I'm a tiny person, so. Rolling the court.
Are you seeing results, Poland?
Yeah, I was outside.
Can you put them up on the
and then I
screen?
could also.
Oh, sure.
It's kind of weird in Boulder because.
Is everybody voted, like, AB?
I was like, oh, this is not. Oh, I'm 5'6", so very different. Yeah, so I'm like.
I don't know if they can see this though.
The girls on our team are really cool.
That's okay.
I like
it
this.
because I ended up.
Co-chairs, our next co-chairs.
Let me, because my other day,
It's too.
The same color.
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so how are we doing?
Oh. She's not like about specific, she was for.
I don't know what sharing is.
Pretty much done.
New responses, then new information.
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, AB, did you vote?
I just opened it. Is there
Okay.
something that you want to know?
Just wait a second, so I know.
I'm sorry, wait a second for what?
For you to vote. No,
We're waiting for
you. We're waiting for you, AB,
You're waiting for me to do what?
to vote.
Okay, I just opened it.
Sorry, I was talking to Selena, not to you. So
Oh, I heard my name. That's why I was like, what's happening?
you're good.
30, a lot of like non-salary stuff. She goes over, so any, like anything. Could be like helpful. They also really cool. It's great.
So have 6, 7, Jason, are they?
Because we.
Yeah. And Bill.
It's an interesting thing. Any. Were you able to get in? Were you able to get in?
Yeah, okay, so it's when, has anyone in this room not been able to vote who has the voting rights and privileges? Okay, I voted.
So this is.
I did use. Still fixing.
Okay, if you.
Before I was doing.
Or is he like a minute away, or do we have?
We have another step, but
I just use the other step, that one.
but once we get the names and we see what it looks like.
Okay.
Then there's another, it's supposed to be like 4, 6.
Just sample.
Okay, we have 6. We're waiting for one.
Selena is voting for Bill.
Usually auditing.
Selena is voting for.
Oh, okay.
Jason?
Yeah, I don't know. We're.
She left.
Unmutable.
Oh, wasn't he just up on the screen? Like a moment ago?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
he was.
But I also have accidentally hit the leave button when I meant to hit the share button, so like, I'm gonna give her people.
I just can't do anyone.
Hey guys, did you get my vote?
What's like 6? Yeah.
Like
Should there be 6? 7 with mine?
Yeah.
But different. One, two, sure.
So I don't know.
I'm gonna get it on my phone.
Okay.
Would someone mind sending me a link though, because I can't get in.
Oh. That's the hardest thing.
It's going to be the top.
The channel
Are, yeah, it's just,
it doesn't have anything, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay, I can text it.
oh, you know what? No, I think I have it.
You have it.
Do we?
Okay, there's 7.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so let's.
What is it? Here, put that on the phone. Yes.
Your Monday.
Oh, like,
I used
it's
to-
just enough, okay.
I still.
So I think we just look at that chart and see who our top 4, right?
Paper clips,
Mhm.
boards.
So.
Getting into that a lot. So I was going to do that.
Next. My 13-year-old is like, if you don't go to Trader Joe's before they close, I will kill you. It's like, I need breakfast for tomorrow. I have an email all day today.
Same.
You know,
Bedtime today.
just overrated.
Hurry up and wait.
I was like, wouldn't it be so great if we didn't do?
Where is the, do you want me to
If you
share?
could eat when you wanted to, and it would be enjoyable.
Or
but you
give
didn't
us the numbers
to.
to the first one?
Like,
It's gonna be like a vaccine.
It's 4 people.
non-eating
Yeah.
vaccine.
Got all of us.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy to figure out what our
Okay.
4 people look like.
oh, I guess I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
Appreciates.
Me too.
Only 2
Okay, you want me to share?
Or, yeah, you can share that and then I'll add those people to the, or I'll delete everyone else actually from the other one, if I can still have access to that. Okay, so. There you are. Oh. She already did it. All right.
Should figure it out.
Okay, so that's what it looks like.
Can you do this online?
Oh, yeah. So you're gonna send us.
Yes.
I'm sending it like.
Can you? Do the link?
First, my controller doesn't touch my. Oh, you know what, I guess we need to quick ask if, so the people who are selected as the top 4 are Soledad, Milen, Lizzie, and Bill. Does anyone in that group not accept the like potential nomination?
I just asked this. She said yes.
Okay. And Bill had said yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the 4 of
Okay,
us.
so I just sent out another link where you should be able to pick, again, basically the same thing. The top 2 people, and then we'll see what that ends up. Okay. Okay. Sorry, your first meeting was like sort of.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah, and I just have, a child who was sick today and just wants something from Trader Joe's.
Do they close at 9 or 10 here?
9.
You know what, I've been burned by that, now I agree. Chicago, they opened.
AB, there's a second email with a second form for you to vote.
Sure. Double click, so that was very.
I mean, you don't have to rush. Yeah, let me, they're gonna vote right now, so let me go. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Well, they're doing it online, but yeah, they're.
AB,
Yes,
we
yes.
sent second form.
Oh, there's another form?
Yeah. For
Okay.
the last 4.
All right, hold on.
I
Thank you.
cast my vote and it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Responses. You've already have 4 responses, so
Awesome.
we get 1 more.
Thank you so much. Your sister is so sweet.
It's just,
kind of for all your help. Yeah, and then you can, scan this QR code. It'll take you exactly to their website. And then this is, yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate all your help.
There is more Kristen.
Angelina, did you vote for Alan? For Bill? For Bill.
yeah, I did the first round.
The second round.
You want me to do the second?
Yeah. Selena, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me join.
Yeah.
This is over, I guess.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. This last bit of casual shenaniganry.
For the second one.
So how many is this?
There's seven.
So we have 7 votes?
On the second one.
Okay, what's it?
Lizzie, did you vote? Selection, right, Julie? Okay, the selection one.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if you were asking me, but I did vote.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, I think I'm not made of film. So I can't share my.
Do you want me to?
Well, or you can share yours, whichever. I was just gonna pop it up for everyone to see.
Yeah, thank you for staying. You're allowing us to stay, actually.
Okay. So it looks like our two new co-chairs for the 2025, 2026 police oversight panel are Soledad. Lizzie. Great.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Congratulations, Lizzie.
Congratulations.
Thanks
have to-
all.
Lizzie and Soledad, I'll send some meeting for us to try to figure out when you want co-chairs meetings in this next 6 months.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Sounds good. Thank you all.
Okay, before
We'll try to
everyone
do you
goes
proud.
off, we need a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn to be.
Thank you, Milan. Give me the second. Second.
You guys can't vote.
Oh.
Lizzie, can you second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. So.
Second. Oh, third.
Thank you.
Meeting is
Okay.
adjourned, then. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
You made it.
Night, everybody. Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you.